Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are finally getting our hands on the brand new legendary tier heavy cruiser for the Americans, Des Moines. That's right baby, Desi is here and she is an absolutely fine unit as you would expect. So let's look at our commander where we're using Azure Lane Baltimore with Isiroko, Yamamoto, and Norman Scott as our inspirations. We are also running Beyond Range, Igniter. Instead of Punch Through, we are running Absolute Ammunition, which allows us to have a better AP pin multiplier, but it does reduce the amount of shell fuse time. So it means you get less overpins on cruisers. Now, that being said, I'm not sure that this is the best perk for this ship, just because of all of the armor you're up against. This could steal some damage from you at some point. We'll have to play with this in the coming future, but we might jump over to Punch Through, depending. Punch Through gives you a little bit better AP shell damage, as well as the same penetration multiplier that you get with Absolute Ammunition. So I'm looking forward to testing which one is better in tier legendary tier. Okay, so obviously we have Fixated, and then we have Fully Packed. Now you could go with Refill Station, but honestly, what you're going to get out of it is not really worth it. I think we have a 4.8 second reload time currently. So if we look at our reload time, yeah, 4.8 seconds. And if we go with Refill Station over Fully Packed, that takes our reload time down to 4.6 seconds. Is it worth 0.2 seconds to lose out on an extra heal, an extra radar, extra sonar? No, not in my opinion. So, yeah, I am not going to be using Refill Station on mine. I know Aaron probably does. He's one of those Refill Station weirdos. But personally, having the extra survivability of getting an extra heal comes in handy, because I tend to put myself in danger quite a bit. And you're going to get plenty of that in the video coming up. Now, we are running Aiming Systems Mod 1. We are running Propulsion Mod. We are running the Steering Gears Mod 3, which means we pass up on the Concealment System Mod. And we have Main Battery Mod 3, giving us even faster reload, but costing us in the main battery traverse. And that is a pretty significant cost, because when you're trying to avoid the target, you'll find yourself outrunning your turrets, or out-turning your turrets. So you'll have to keep stopping your turn to make sure you get your guns on and fire. But you can get used to that over time. It's not a huge amount, but it is noticeable, especially when you're trying to kite and keep your distance, but maintain fire on the enemy. But Des Moines loadout, we are running the radar, obviously, and we have our 3 heals. Again, we have 3 of these because we are running the Fully Packed skill. Now, we also are running the Epic Battle Booster, so we have an extra half a kilometer of range on our shots, but if we get rid of that, we'll show you that as well. We'll show you the stats without that on, is what I'm saying. So, Alpha Tester Flag, again, completely cosmetic, doesn't do anything for the ship. However, we are running the Shadow Permanent Camo that I have created, because she's nasty, man. I save my Shadow Camos for ships that I'm going to be playing a lot of, because I love looking at a nice black ship. It just looks good. And Desi, no joke. She hot. She fine. So we're going to be having a lot of fun with Desi. But with that being said, let's look at our stats. We have 50,600 hit points. We do have a 19% torpedo damage reduction. That's going to come in handy a little bit. That's almost as good as the Iowa class. Just keep that in mind. But artillery, we have 203mm Mark 16 auto-loading 203mm guns. We have 9 of them, same configuration as the Balti, and a 3x3 configuration. They fire basically the exact same shells as the Balti. They fire the same range as the Balti. Like, they are literally the Balti. This is a Balti with auto-loading guns. So that is basically what you have to offer. Now, because of that, again, we have a 17-kilometer range. We have 4.8 second reload time because of those auto-loaders. It's nasty. Nasty. And the best part is, Des Moines, Salem, they existed. Unlike a lot of the legendary tier ships, you know, the Americans tend to build their stuff. It's just the way it is. But yeah, 180-degree turn time, because we are running that extra perk, is 34.5 seconds. Not good, especially for a cruiser. But, again, you can work with that. You just gotta pick your moments. HE shell maximum damage is 2,800 with 17% chance to set fires, which is nasty. You guys know the Balti, the Wichita, nasty fire chance. It is disgusting HE that hits hard because it's 203 millimeters, so it does penetrate that armor. The AP shells, obviously, you guys know the AP of the Balti is nasty. This has the same AP. It is absolutely disgusting, especially against cruisers. But if a broadside battleship decides to show himself, or if you can get some plunging fire at really long ranges, there's a chance that you Citadel battleships with plunging fire. I've done it in Balti. I'm assuming you can do it here. Now, that might be where AP solution or AP ammunition or whatever skill would come in as a negative, because those shells would detonate pinning the deck armor, but not before they get to the Citadel. So that might be one of those situations where you'd rather have punch through than you would AP solution. However, against cruisers, especially light cruisers like Mino, like the Clevelands, Worcester, those are the ones that you're going to want to have that extra or that shorter fuse time to make sure that you really do punch them. But secondaries, you have 127 millimeter Mark 32s. Those are the American 5-inch 38s, dual purpose secondaries. Everybody knows and loves them. We get 12 of them, meaning you've got almost the amount of secondaries on this thing as you do with an Iowa class battleship, who gets 20. So keep that in mind. We've only got 4 turrets less than an Iowa of the secondaries. But 5.2 kilometer range, 6-second reload time. HE shell maximum is 1,800 with an 8% chance to set fires. Interestingly enough, because we have that perk igniter on, that actually exists or switches over, or also buffs the fire chance of the secondaries, so we get 8% instead of the 6% chance that you get into the Iowas. AA defense is freaking ridiculous. Not quite as good as Worcester, not quite as good as Mino, I believe, but ridiculous. Any planes that come up against you, with the exception of the Russian carrier, because he gets to launch all his stuff before his planes get shot down. But other than that, the planes get shredded like nobody's business. 12 20 millimeter Oerlikon Mark IVs doing 43 damage per second, reaching out to 2 kilometers. So very good close-in firing or air support, AA. And then you got the 76.2 millimeter Mark 32s that you have 24 of that do 335 damage, and it's mid-range, or you could call that long range, 5-kilometer firing range. So anything that gets within 5 kilometers starts getting shredded. And you couple that with the fact that you also have the 127 millimeter Mark 32 dual purpose secondaries that you have 12 of, doing 91 additional damage per second at 5 kilometers. 5 kilometers, things get shredded. Okay? So maneuverability, maximum speed 33 knots. This is due to the Americans' carrier task force mantra, where everybody is designed to support the carriers, so they go as fast as the carrier, and that's it. Including our battleships, which were capable, our Iowa class was capable of 33 knots as well. So everybody's able to support carriers. That was the whole point of our Navy's mantra at this point in time. Turning circle radius 770 meters, rudder shift time of just 4.7 seconds. So not bad considering we're only using one rudder mod, but we're running the bigger one. Turning circle though, not the best. 770 meters. It is very shifty back and forth at when you're not making full turns, but not quite as bad as the Russians when they start the full turn. But you do notice a little bit of a lack of full turn capability. Once you start the turn, you have to basically expect to be hit, because it's very, very dangerous. Concealment. You have 12.4 kilometers by sea, because we're not running concealment mod. We also have 7.8 kilometers by air, and 2 kilometers always guaranteed, with 7.5 kilometer smoke firing penalty. Again, that's because we have that 203 millimeter gun, so it does allow you to be spotted from further out than, say, a Mino with 6 kilometer smoke firing. Alright, now here is the beauty of this ship. Alright, the armor. This is what makes these ships so nasty. This is what makes the Balti and this ship so nasty. It has 27 millimeters of bow and stern armor plus 27 millimeters on the upper side plating. What does that mean? That means 15-inch guns and below do not overmatch you, meaning you can go bow in and use 2/3 of your firepower every 4.8 seconds against ships that would otherwise smash some of the cruisers. Now, obviously, not quite as thick as, say, the Alaska or the Worcester, but 27 millimeters is that magic number that really does bite into the amount of people that do have the ability to punch you. The Jean Barts, the Richelieus, the Flanders, the Bismarck, the Tirpitz, the Brandenburgs, all of those things all have 15-inch guns. You run into them constantly, and they like to push you. Well, guess what? With these ships, you get to push back, and they are nasty. With the DPM that you're capable of putting out, battleships do not want to fight you. They just don't, unless they have 16 or 18-inch guns. Anything 16-inch gun and above, overmatches, goes straight through and potentially citadels you, as we're going to showcase in this match. And because you have so much armor, if you go broadside, you're getting citadeled. If you go angled or over-angled and they catch you just right, you're getting citadeled. So keep that in mind. These ships are very good, but they are also very vulnerable against the right caliber guns. Okay? All right. So actually, let's just, so there you see the 27 millimeter side plating as well, which gets the exact same thing. So if you angle these things properly, anything 15 inches and below can't go through, and you just absolutely annihilate them. However, you do have that exposed citadel. It's not really exposed. There is a slight layer of armor there because we do have a little bit of torque protection. But yeah, it's not enough to hope for. But it is a raised citadel, as we know and love. So if you over-angle, you get punched. And because the front of the ship is so short, anybody that overmatches your bow has a potential to citadel you, and it ends badly. So keep that in mind as well. So anytime that you're up against anything 16 inches and above, open up the skirt, try to use that side armor as best you can to deflect those rounds by angling. But yeah, you're going to struggle. Okay? Overview. Reloader. You have above average main battery reload speed, obviously, for 203 millimeter guns, 4.8 seconds. Just ridiculous. Ridiculous. Powerful AA defense. Again, above average AA gun firepower. This is what we expect out of legendary tier cruisers, especially American cruisers. They are nasty at shooting down those planes. And then sluggish shot. This is the downside and why you don't usually go much beyond 17 kilometers with your range. Now, you could spec this thing out to get probably 18 plus kilometers of range, but once you get to 17 and a half kilometers, it gets difficult to consistently hit your targets, even if you've played these ships for a long time. So just keep that in mind. Des Moines, one of the best heavy cruisers in the world. The ship was designed taking the experience gained in World War II into account, which resulted in excellent armor protection and very powerful AA armament. The key distinctive feature of cruisers of this type was auto-loading main guns that had a very high rate of fire. She entered service in 1948. There were 4 of them in the series. Now, I don't remember all of them, but I do remember Des Moines and I do remember Salem. Those are the 2 Des Moines class that I remember. If you guys know the other 2, put them down in the comments below. First one to get it correct, and I will pin you. So, with that being said, let's look at this gorgeous, gorgeous Desi. Come on, baby. What is not to love about this ship? Now, yeah, it does sit up out of the water a little bit, and that goes to the whole raised citadel thing. But, I mean, it's just such a good-looking ship. I know I'm biased. Y'all know this. I don't make any, I don't try to hide it. I'm biased. I love American ships. But they are also some of the best ships that were ever built. So, you know, there's a reason that I love them. They're not just gorgeous. They're also functional. So, with that being said, let's get to the gameplay. Alrighty, so we're going to be on Crash Zone, and this is going to be ridiculous. This is also going to be one of those matches that you just look back on and you go, man, if only I had a little bit of help, this game could have been absolutely insane for the amount of damage that we could put out. Now, obviously, we're going to showcase the strengths, the weaknesses of this ship, and we're also going to showcase just how dominant this ship can be when it's left unchecked. If you just decide that this ship isn't a threat, you will be punished harshly. But we're going to push off to the right side, try to use the island cover. I'm actually going to make some mistakes here right at the beginning that I'm going to point out to you guys. But also, my Yamato that's here with me, he just does the most boneheaded thing he could possibly do. Now, on one side, he does spot the enemy ships, which is good, because I can't do that. I mean, there's too much firepower on the enemy team that overmatches me to put myself in that position early in the match. And it's too much for him as well, because he ends up just running straight in and getting obliterated, which is to be expected. When you're a single battleship and you're going to be against literally all of the firepower on the enemy team, you're not going to last very long. And it goes the same for us cruisers. There's a Suja over here, ish. There is the carrier, and there's the Yamato with me. Now, we, again, are going to push over to the right side. Our Yami is about to get some stuff spotted right off the bat. We're going to see 2 Yamatos get popped up about the time that we get behind this island. Now, here's mistake number 1. I should have started to slow down and stop behind this island because they're about to spot some people, and we would have had all day to sit here and farm these guys. Like, literally all day. So we start firing at these guys to get them, and you'll see that the downside is I make the decision too late to stop, and we're going to run into going behind the island. And then I'm faced with, do I stop or do I just go ahead, power through it, and go to the next island, start using that? Now, what I wasn't expecting when I decided to just go ahead, power through, get to the next island, and use that island, is that our Yami was just going to turn in and go straight at these guys, rather than going bow in and then reversing away. Which would have been the better choice. That would have kept them alive a little bit longer. But our carrier immediately runs from our side and is not going to help this side of the map at all. And when you consider the amount of firepower that's over here on this side of the map, you're going to realize just how stupid of a decision that is by our carrier. If we had any support from him at all on this side, even if it's just spotting, even if it's only spotting, if that carrier had just spotted for us on this side of the map, we have probably a potential damage record on our hands. And that's not me joking or coming up facetious or anything like that. Like, this game was that potential. Alright, so we get a fire right off the bat on our second salvo that we're able to hit. And we get stopped just in time. We do take 1 shell from the Yami. It's an overpin on the bow. Nothing to be worried about. We get another fire on that Yami. And that's going to burn for a bit. And that's when the Brandenburg has us spotted, which is not preferable. Remember, we're trying to use this island as cover, but also maintain our ability to shoot on the enemy. And we don't have the best firing arcs. This isn't a freaking Worcester, okay? We don't have the greatest firing arcs. However, we do have pretty solid firing arcs, and we're going to go ahead and start the barbecue on this Brandenburg and get him away from us. But we're also being spotted by the carrier. The carrier on their team is actually going to do a lot, and you can see I'm checking on the well-being of my battleship because I realize he's in a terrible position, and he's already dead. So, literally 3.5, or just over 3 minutes into the match, our full health Yami is gone. And this is just something you cannot do. You just can't. You're throwing a full health Yami away in 3 minutes, like, you need to reevaluate what you're doing with your ship. Now, obviously, Brandenburg's too close. We know the Yamis are out here. It's time for us to turn and burn. We cannot fight all of this firepower solo. We do have the Suja behind us, kind of doing the exact same thing we are, where we're just trying to get in positions to use our HE. Now, obviously, if we have a chance to use AP, we want to do that as well, but currently, there's just not a real valuable use of my AP, or not a guaranteed use of my AP anyway. We get more out of the HE. We're getting damage, we're getting fires, and damage over time. We're already at 52,000 damage. Like, we have already put up over 50,000 damage that quickly. It just goes to show you how nasty fires can be if you get to spread the love. And we will get to spread the love, especially later. Now, obviously, with their carrier over here, with the 2 Yamis, with the cruiser coming over, there's a 3rd Yami coming, and their Brandenburg, I can't fight all of this. So I have no choice but to withdraw. But I'm not going to withdraw completely. I'm not going to kite all the way to the edge of the map. I'm not going to try to get all the way out there. I'm going to try to maintain myself in a position where I can attack the enemy if they give me the opportunity. If we have any chance of spotting these guys, I want to be able to use my ship. Now, you can see they're back in the cap, so I know that we're about to get some shots, and there it is. As soon as we get close enough, we spot the Brandenburg, and we can start to engage him once again. Now, you can see the slow turret traverse really coming in bad there. I get called out a lot for not using turret lock. I'm pretty bad with remembering to use it, but yeah, you know, it's one of those things that you get used to as a better player. I've never considered myself to be an amazing player. I'm above average. It's what I've always said. We do destroy torpedoes on the Brandenburg, which could come in handy later on for somebody, but you can see I'm starting to feel pretty good. These guys are in a position where I'm not the only one spotting them. So I can use this island as cover and just sit here and burn these guys to the ground. Again, the DPM of this thing, with the fact that it's 8-inch guns and not just 152s that are shattering everywhere, the DPM of this is nasty. AP or HE. It can do it all. And you can see the Brandenburg's burning quite a bit. We don't want to potentially trigger his skill for fight fire with fire. A lot of German battleships run that because they're brawler builds. So we start focusing the Yamato, but the Yamato immediately disappears. So we have to go back to shooting at the Brandenburg. So Brandenburg gets his fires out, and we're going to just go ahead and try to continue to punch him. Now, obviously, we're the ones spotting. Suja was spotting as well. I haven't had a chance to look at his health. But you can see every time I get a chance, the enemy has decided to start pushing towards Bravo, and it's not a bad play. They know that they have 2 kiting cruisers out here that are more than willing to just draw them away from the fight. And to their credit, they don't actually do that. However, what they do instead, you cannot do either. Especially when you have 2 DPM cruisers like a Suja and a Des Moines back here waiting for you to make this kind of a stupid move. Because they go to Bravo to focus and try to start shooting our team, we are going to absolutely have a field day with their backsides. So you can see I push out, these guys are firing their guns, we go ahead and start the barbecue. And barbecue we will. Now, I want to keep my distance. I don't want to close in on these guys. The closer I get, the more likely I am to be hit, less likely I am to be able to dodge. So we definitely do not want to be taking shells from 3 freaking Yamatos, right? Like, 1 Yami, bad enough. 3 Yami, somebody's going to get a good salvo. I don't care who it is. Somebody's going to get a salvo. But you can see, we're not the only ones shooting at these guys. We are finally getting some support from our team who has won that side finally and are coming back to support. Now, the bad news is, we are going to do so much to these Yamatos that they are going to turn their attention to us, which is good news for our team because it helps. We can dodge a lot of shells, especially at these ranges. Like, at these ranges, we are very difficult to hit, especially with battleships that have troll dispersion like the Yamato at range. Now, Yamato's still incredibly good, but it does troll you at range. But you can see, we've got both these guys burning currently. They are not having a good time. And we got another fire on that first Yamato, so we go ahead and switch to the second. Now, these guys are clearly willed to rebuilding each other, and this is why I say that this could have been one of those, like, damage record kind of games. We're over 100,000 damage. We've already got our Confederate, I think. I forget what that... I didn't see it. I think that's a Confederate. But we've been spreading the love to everybody, needless to say. But now you can see the Yamis are starting to get their, we got their attention. These 2 guys are definitely wanting us dead. So we've got to pay attention to where the shells are and try to dodge them at the same time as trying to get the shells in on the targets. Which you can see I'm struggling with because I'm like locking onto the wrong targets at times, and it's just difficult sometimes. But constantly keeping our guns firing is the key to this ship. You can see Yami does damage con those 2 or 3 fires that he had, so we're going to go back to try to get him on fire again. Now you can see I am not staying still. If you look at the bottom of the screen, I am constantly changing course, but he does get some nasty penetrations. We get very fortunate not to be citadeled there, but you know, these are the problems that you run into when you're having to spot your own stuff. And then we get hit with skip bombs, and I'm like, okay, well that's annoying. But my AA is to the point where it should be good, and I'm like, okay, I'm not really worried. Plus, it's carrier, I'm not going to be able to shoot him anyway. So I've got to continue the fire at these guys. Now, we've got Alaska and Hipper both starting to open fire on us. Alaska retreats around the corner. Hipper's giving me the kind of angle that you dream about, and then he starts to tighten it up. He realizes he can't stay in that position. He's not going to damage us with his AP as long as we stay angled. So we are just going to try, and it's the same for him. If he stays bow in, we can't really damage him. We'll shoot a superstructure a couple times, but then we switch over to the HE, and that's where we're going to tear him apart. And then if he starts to make mistakes, you can see him checking where the torpedoes are coming from. And notice that the carrier is spotted right now. I should be focusing fire on that carrier right now because he is a threat. not only a threat, he is an absolute threat that has my broadside and has torpedoes and skip bombs that get to launch before they get into my AA. So he gets all of his torps and bombs away before I get a chance to shoot his planes down. Now once he gets those, you can see right there, perfect example, 2 fires and just hits me for like 10k. Nasty. So immediately we're bow into the Hipper, we're able to get away from him, so we've got to focus this guy down. And here we're going to make some mistakes. Because he has such fast turnaround times on his planes right now, we're in trouble. He's already got more torpedo planes on the way, and I didn't see it. We've got our clear sky, we've got our high cal. You can see we're going to try, we're aiming a little bit higher, and he actually catches us going in reverse here, and we're going to eat all of these, and one of them is going to cause a flood, unfortunately. But you can see we are starting to punch in for citadels if we can get them to hit. But unfortunately not able to just finish him off there. But look at the damage we were able to do there. 217,000 damage with 23 planes shot down, only a single citadel, 10 fires. Like this was one of those games that you absolutely dream about in this ship, when everybody's turns away and just lets you kind of bake them, because you get to put that full power of that DPM to use. And you can see I'm kind of upset at this point. I'm like, man, we had the game. We had the game. This was a game that could have been so freaking disgustingly good. Because think about it. We kill that carrier and don't take those torps. Then we're in a position where we can kill the Hipper. And then we can go after the Alaska. And do we have enough health to get rid of the Alaska? I think we do. I think the DPM difference between the Alaska and the Des Moines is such a huge difference that we would actually have a chance to take out all of the remaining ships here. And yeah, it would have been juicy. I mean, you're talking at least 260,000 damage at least. Like that was the potential, but unfortunately didn't quite materialize. You can see I actually turned on my mic and I was like, man, if I could just get one ship to help me, just one ship to help me. But no, we didn't have it. Suja ran all the way back around the other side of the map. Our carriers stayed all the way across the map from us, not able to help us at all. But is what it is. We did the best that we could, and turns out that we actually did enough. You can see I'm just sitting here. I don't have anything better to do. I'm just sitting here just staring at my sunken ship, staring at the ocean. But we are going to go check out our ship or our team, and we're going to see kind of the situation that they're in. We have a couple of Gross Firsts out here. We have the Suja. Suja, I think, is the one in the ACAP next to the battleship that's in the ACAP. Carrier, obviously, he's put himself too far out of the fight. And again, this is something that, as a carrier, I'm not the best carrier player in the world. You have to balance your flight times. And their carrier did that pretty well, coming in too close right at the end of the game. I wasn't able to kill him quick enough, and he was able to get such quick turnarounds on his planes that I just ended up going down really quickly. So that's on me. A little too tunnel visioned on the Hipper. Should have focused that guy in the carrier sooner. But doesn't matter. We did enough for the team. The team is going to be able to finish this, and we have a great result as a result of it. So this Gross First, not long for this world. He goes to get his full firepower to bear. He's on fire. He's about to die, and he completely missed the Hipper somehow. I don't know how either. He just did. Completely missed him at 12 kilometers. But our Yami, on the other hand, he's not going to miss. And he's going to go bow into the Alaska, so Alaska's not going to be able to do much to him. I believe Alaska is trying to shoot AP, but you can see he's not getting much out of it. Suja gets his Witherer. Maybe that's what we had. Maybe we had a Witherer medal. But Suja gets his Witherer finally. Yami gets a shot out on the Hipper, and he actually punches the Hipper pretty good here. Or no, Alaska. He shot the Alaska. Never mind. And you can see he actually does punch the Alaska pretty good. But Hipper goes behind the thing. Our guys do manage to cap the center, which gives us the guaranteed win here as long as we don't lose ships right in the last 30 seconds of the match. The other Gross First that just finished capturing Bravo, he's going to push out and catch the Hipper, and I do believe he finishes off the Hipper. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. This is one of those games, man, you just dream about. You wish that you had a little bit more support. If it was just spotting, if I could have just sat on the backside of that island and used the carriers as a spotter, Like, you're talking ridiculous damage, because those guys would have kept will to rebuilding one another forever. It would have been hard for me to remove them, because they're battleship will to rebuilding battleships. It's not like a carrier or a cruiser that gets to will to rebuild a battleship where you kill the cruiser and then you kill the battleship. But we would have been able to farm a lot more damage. But 217,000 damage, 3,100 base XP. This is the third game I've played in this ship. So keep that in mind. And if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.